News with Gina.
The News with Gina Grad.
Well, 10 of the Democratic candidates for president met on stage in Miami Wednesday night in the first debate of the 2020 presidential race, tackling hot topics like immigration, Iran, healthcare, Donald Trump. Wednesday night's field included some high-profile candidates. They had Elizabeth Warren, Beto O'Rourke, Cory Booker. All the other big ones will be Thursday night. While discussing immigration, though, this is the best part. Beto Robert O'Rourke broke into Spanish, leaving Booker with such a look of shock on his face that it became a meme on social media. And Booker is not to be outdone. Yes. Then he broke into Spanish at one point so he could show everyone what he's talking about with border issues. Here are those moments. It was pretty funny.
Mi amo or something, K, some mi amo or something like
that. Yeah, that was right from the debate.
There's Beto.
Unbelievable. Incluir cada persona en el éxito de esta economía. Pero si queremos hacer eso, necesitamos incluir cada persona en nuestra democracia. Cada votante necesitamos la representación y cada voz necesitamos escuchar.
Senator Booker, what would you do on day one? And this is a situation that the next president will inherit.
Yes.
Here he goes.
None of you guys.
La situación ahora es inaceptable. Este presidente ha atacado, ha demonizado los inmigrantes. Es inaceptable. Voy a cambiar este. On day one, I will make sure that, number one, we end the ICE policies and the customs and border policies that are violating the human rights. When people come to this country, they do not leave their human rights at the border.
So terrible.
Such a dude.
First of all, I think Beto said that. I think Beto said my maid Anna makes me rice and beans on Friday. And I
Arroz con pollo.
Yeah, I think that's what he said. First of all, here's the thing that pisses me off. Let me know when you see the American flag on that friggin' stage where they performed. Where's the American flag?
That's a good question.
No, but everybody speaks Spanish, but there's no. Give me a fucking break.
God,
Get a flag up there.
Well, by the way, Donald Trump did have feelings about it.
Pete Buttigieg is coming up.
Not a gay flag, an American
flag.
What?
Flag.
Flag. I'm sorry.
He rolled over the L a little.
Mike, I sped a little quickly. Right?
Yeah,
right.
sorry.
Donald Trump did have some thoughts about it. He tweeted the word boring.
That was brilliant.
There's two. You need to do groups of 5 or 6 or something.
Over
10
4 nights.
It's too many.
Tournament style.
We got to do something else because there's too many
brackets.
We got to do brackets.
Yeah,
we got to do brackets because there's too long and too many and too many people trying to jump in, and it doesn't. It doesn't work.
Julian Castro. These people. Some of these people have no shot. Why do we need to hear them expound on stuff for 2 minutes? They have no shot.
And you really won't because really all the time is yielded to Bernie and Elizabeth.
I
watched. I don't know about 20 minutes of it, but I just caught Cory Booker, who's just an explosion of pablum mixed with douche.
Right.
It's fired from a T-shirt cannon, and he's getting more woke every day. And they were asking Tulsi Gabbard
from Hawaii.
Yeah, about I guess past stuff with her and the LGBT whatever.
Questionable.
And Cory, they weren't asking Cory, they were asking her, but he had to jump in and make sure that everyone knew he was twice as
he
woke.
hasn't told anybody he's gay yet, and he's got this Puerto Rican beard. You'd think he'd know how to speak Spanish better, laying down Rosario Dawson every night.
Yeah.
But it hasn't rubbed off on him yet.
Here it is.
Ass.
It is this commitment that I'll carry through as President of the United States, recognizing that there are still people who are facing discrimination in the workplace, still people who are unable to find a home for their families. It is this kind of discrimination that we need to address.
But it's not enough. It's not enough. If I can add to this, it's very important.
30 seconds,
this is not enough. Look, civil rights is some place to begin, but in the African American civil rights community, another place to focus on was to stop the lynching of African Americans. We do not talk enough about trans Americans, especially African American trans Americans, and the incredibly high rates of murder right now. We don't talk enough about how many children, about 30% of LGBTQ kids.
How many African American trans Americans were killed last year? And I would say there are probably more guys shot in Chicago while he was talking about black trans kids being shot.
Not for nothing, how many suicides do we have with trans people in general? No one's killing them. They're killing themselves.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like when they're trying to tally up gun deaths and they include suicides with guns,
Right.
but they don't tell you they
Yes.
included that part, and that's the fucking lion's share of it. It's a little bit of a lie. Anyway, Jesus, goddamn Christ.
Can I please tell you why I pray that Cory Booker either goes the whole distance or at least stays in for a long time? Because I truly believe if he sticks around, Key and Peele will get back together.
Oh,
They are identical.
that is
He could do the
true.
best impression of him, and
You're
I
right.
really want that to happen.
I want that to happen,
That'd be
too.
awesome. That's something to look forward to.
Well, AJ, you might have some insight on
what do
this.
you got?
Cuba Gooding Jr.'s lawyer, quote, begged a judge Wednesday to dismiss the groping charges against him. According to Page 6, attorney Mark Heller argued that, quote, Mr. Gooding's life has been put on hold. It's on the pause button.
Take a break from not making movies?
Well, no, Brian.
Right,
He's
right.
substantially impacting him financially and professionally.
yeah.
Heller also called the alleged victim's name to be made public, but they don't do that when it's a victim situation or somebody's claiming that they were victimized by a sex crime. The judge said she'll review the motion to dismiss and issue a ruling on August 14th. So Cuba was arrested earlier this month and charged with sexual abuse and forcible touching for allegedly touching this woman's breast in a New York club. Here's the footage from the camera, and it's just kind of
All right,
play-by-play here.
let's try to break this down. First off, they're doing what we did to get on the roof of the Mulholland Club. They're putting furniture on top of furniture. They're
So
Risers.
Cuba's
they're
with
sitting
his
on
girlfriend.
a chair on a riser. All right, so
He's with his
That's
girlfriend
Robert De
in
Niro's
the
daughter.
middle.
That's Claudine De Niro.
Oh.
Robert De Niro's daughter.
So
It
the girl
is?
in the girl in the dress came up to them.
and sat uncomfortably close
She's touching him.
Reach down, touching it.
to them.
And now there's a guy like kind of
Hey, let's
so
get
this
out.
Getting in on
is
it.
drunk people
Yeah, exactly.
sort of interacting, right?
He's like, hey,
Seems
bro,
like
you
it.
drank enough, bro. I love
Right.
you, but enough now, bro.
Right. So,
Okay.
all right, you pause it for a second. First off, I don't know.
starts dancing.
I don't know where you guys are at, but I am a very much you drew first blood kind of thing. Like I'm sitting with my girlfriend having a cocktail at an event or a bar or whatever. You come over to me, sit down so close to me that you're making contact with me.
Yeah.
You then reach over and start instigating a conversation or some touching or something. I may touch your breast at some point,
Yes.
but this
You've
is
been
a
warned.
definitely.
Understood.
If you didn't come over and practically sit on my girlfriend's lap drunk, we could have avoided
We'd never
this.
This is exactly this is tit for tat to the word.
Literally. No, and I don't, it's not like,
Come on.
it's not like, hey man, you do this and whatever happens after that, that's all on you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I do factor in.
You should.
I factor in you sitting reading a novel on a park bench and me coming over and sitting next to you when you're sober at noon versus you being drunk and coming over and sitting on my girlfriend's lap after you recognize me. Like
and Cuba Gooding has been drunk since Jerry Maguire. He's been out at night. By the way, an ex-girlfriend of mine was out going to a club. She came out to the street to go to a new club. While she was there, a black car pulls up and the window comes down and it's Cuba with his Oscar begging the girls to go to the next club with him. And they said, no, we really don't want to. And he cursed them out and sped away. He's been doing this for years. He's always drunk at clubs. This
all
is
right,
no
so
surprise.
he's drunk. He's with his girl.
But he's innocent here. I'm sorry.
She sits next to her and makes contact with her.
So she starts chit-chatting, and then Cuba at some point reaches over, puts his hand on her knee.
Right.
And they're chit-chatting.
Little in her thigh.
Because
she doesn't
they're
move.
Swingers. They're swingers.
But
It's
you
a
can't
thing.
really see what's going on with the hand at this point. When her hand comes up, is he like kissing her hand or is she swatting him? What is this move coming up?
I don't know. There isn't a crime. There's no crime here. These are drunk people at a club. She recognized him. She sloppily sat too close to him. He put his hand on her thigh.
Right.
There isn't a crime that was committed here.
No,
nobody
agree.
broke into anyone's apartment. Nobody assaulted anyone. No one held anyone down. This is this. Like, I'm sorry. Everything can't be a crime. Every time there's a physicality, it's not an assault. I can touch you. It doesn't make you a crime. And especially if you walk across the club and sit down next to me and I'm juiced up and you lean over my girlfriend. It's just, there's no victim here.
And you know what? A drunk celebrity kind of even things out for other people who are also loaded. They go, oh, they're both kind of loaded. They can talk to now you're on the same plane, so to speak.
Right.
As long as we're tangentially on the subject of Cuba Gooding Jr., question for everyone in the room. What was the more impressive feat by writer-director Cameron Crowe? Getting an Oscar for Cuba Gooding Jr. or getting an Oscar nomination for Kate Hudson? These are two no-talent hacks.
I think Cuba Gooding.
Who did he do the more magical feat with?
I hate Kate Hudson because she takes her son, he grows his hair out, his blonde, fair hair down to his waist, then parades the kid around in some sort of a unitard, and at some point when someone says to the 5-year-old, "Oh, you have a beautiful little girl," she goes, "It's a boy. How dare you?" It's like a sorry bitch. I didn't know.
I know. Exactly.
Because of what you do and the way you present them, and now you've announced that Ryder's going to decide his own sexuality. Right. Okay, hero.
I know.
Thank you, hero.
Everybody's got.
So I hate her.
I agree.
I think the Kate Hudson thing is more impressive.
I think you got Adam's answer.
Because I think Cuba's been good in a couple of things.
And I'm not sure what her great appeal is. Like I don't feel like she has great comedic chops.
One of the greatest asses in Hollywood.
Right.
Her ass is phenomenal.
Okay.
But it didn't take away, at least for me, what a great movie Almost Famous is.
If her mother wasn't Goldie Hawn, she'd be forgettable.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Well, you might have some insight on this as well, AJ. Pamela Anderson has split with French soccer star Adil Rami, announcing the news in an Instagram post where she calls the 33-year-old athlete a monster and suggests he cheated on her and abused her. Along with this black and white photo, I'm sorry, I don't think we have it, but it's a kind of a lovely, romantic photo. Right. She writes, quote, "The last more than 2 years of my life have been a big lie. I was scammed, led to believe we were in big love. I'm devastated to find out the last few days he was living a double life." She ended by posting the link to a national domestic violence hotline.
You know what she should have done? Would have been really nice for Pam in the last 18 months to tell everybody she wasn't fucking Julian Assange. If I'm her boyfriend and every 2 weeks she's going off to the embassy to see Rumpelstiltskin, I'm going to be pissed off too. I might shag somebody in France or Brazil, wherever I'm playing soccer.
I think we all just assumed that she was with Julian Assange.
By the way, you're 51. That's what happens. You're not the 35-year-old pinup anymore. Sorry. I love Pam, but it's over.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, too. She obviously was abused when she was younger, and she has a kind of skewed sexuality and all these things. But the deal is this. If you would like to avoid this, stop dating 33-year-old international superstars.
So easy.
Find yourself a guy from the Eagle Rock, Glendale area who does tax preparation for H&R Block.
Exactly.
And just, you want this, these chicks are like, here's what I want. I want a nice guy who treats me right, who wants to stay in on a Saturday night and watch Netflix. That guy makes $47,000 a year. He drives a Yaris. Would you like to fucking date him? You want to date him? Because you want to date the guy with the fucking yacht who's the international playboy and who likes to stay in on Saturday night and will cuddle up the popcorn and watch Netflix. That guy's never been born.
That guy's 75.
That guy's not been born.
If he's born, he's 75, 78.
Yeah, his name was Aristotle Onassis.
Exactly.
Right. Is the only exception to this rule just because I haven't heard any gossip about him specifically, unless I haven't been paying attention?
I think she wants to play the big victim, too.
Is the only exception David Beckham? Because you don't hear about him philandering.
Beckham. What do you mean? Well, Beckham, there's countless stories about him having screwing around Beckham.
I missed it. No, I mean, obviously,
listen,
I'm sure they are. But,
wait, were you kidding?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, there's countless stories.
Never mind.
You can't tell AJ that.
No, I was
Look, I'll give you one other option
he's
that
a
AJ
could. Posh just lets it go on.
I'll give you two options.
Okay.
And I'll give you 0 option. I'll give you A, B, and C is 0 option. If you're going to float that, you float it to me, I'll be AJBenza.
Okay, so from everything I've kind of read and tabloids and stuff, I really haven't ever seen anything about David Beckham being a philanderer.
He's gay. You don't know he's gay?
He's got a husband
in course. Everyone knows he's gay.
I didn't know he was gay.
Everybody knows he's gay.
I'll be damned.
It's arranged. Everyone knows he's gay.
Oh, so Posh is the beard?
He's banged half the German soccer team.
Him and DiCaprio shacking up together.
That is an option.
That's option one.
He's getting the hang of it. He knows.
Okay, yeah. I get it.
Now you get indignant. Option two.
Option two. I'll give you option two.
Yeah.
So from all the light research I've done, I've never seen anything. David Beckham seems to be the exception to this rule.
He's fucking you right now.
He is?
Yes, he's in you.
He's currently inside me?
Wake up.
Oh, my God.
That's all he does.
Where have I been?
Hello,
Jesus Christ.
I'm quite enjoying this.
My God.
I'll just be
How
down
do you not know this?
This seems highly irregular.
He's done your mom, too.
Oh, my God. She's in town.
When you guys were making burgers, he was in her.
Oh, my God.
She's
She bent over to get the patties out of the oven. He rammed her from
I gotta go.
Wake up.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Ring the doorbell twice.
It's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'll give you
Option B.
option C. That's not an option.
Okay. So just from the little I know about David Beckham, I've noticed that he doesn't seem to be a philanderer.
You haven't heard anything either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Not on the table.
it's not.
Yeah, you would never
It's
say
A or
that.
B.
Yeah,
you're
that's
right.
it. It's A or B.
See.
Absolutely right.
Just act indignant and you'll be right. That's all.
That's some really good advice.
Yeah, just be very confident about it.
Well, speaking of indignant, Wendy Williams and her estranged husband, Kevin Hunter
Oh, boy.
Sr., they don't agree on much, according to HollywoodLife.com, but
She is taking a bullet train to Crazy Town.
Yes.
Like, I feel like she was taking a donkey to Crazy Town for like the
Slow
last
boat.
20 years. She was taking one of those rafts you push, like
Gondola?
Huck Finn.
Yes.
No, like a stick.
like a
Yeah,
makeshift
like in the
raft.
Mississippi.
Propelling
Yeah,
herself.
like a Huck Finney
Right.
kind of thing.
Mississippi River.
Right.
Yeah, and now she's on a
bullet
Japanese
train. Yeah.
bullet
She's on the
train.
The shuttle.
She is shocked.
Yes. What happened? Like the last 20 minutes.
Well, so this one actually, I think it was more about defending her honor, but she's still involved. So Kevin Hunter Sr. and she are united on wanting the best for their son. So they want to see his assault case dropped because.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Rich man, poor man, punching your dad out.
Absolutely.
That is
Oh,
a
yeah.
hillbilly
That's
good.
move,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that is Tommy
Yeah.
Lee's
Yes,
son
Tommy
punching
Lee.
him. Like
Yeah.
that is a
Yes.
rich dude and a
Yes.
poor. It's not a middle.
No.
That's not a
No.
middle class
No,
move.
You're
not at all.
absolutely
You
right.
put your hands on your biological dad as an adult.
Oh,
that
yeah.
is
Yeah.
super rich shit and
Or
super
you
poor
can-
shit.
It's on Cops. You can see it on
Yes.
Cops
Yeah.
every week.
You're
Yeah.
tussling, yeah.
Or you
Absolutely.
do it in a stately manner.
Of course. Yep.
So, yeah, Kevin Hunter Jr. pleaded not guilty to the assault charge when he and his dad scrapped a little bit. After Kevin Jr. entered his not guilty plea in the case, stemming from the alleged altercation with his 46-year-old dad in May, the teen's attorney told TMZ that he expects the case to be fully resolved. The attorney said Kevin Sr. isn't interested in bringing charges against his son. It appears Wendy feels the same way.
You can't see your father. You can't read about your father, messing around with other men on top of other women having a. Yeah, there was a thing about one of the singers.
yeah.
One of the singers he brought up and was going to sign to the label him and Wendy started. So I forget the kid's name. It's out there. He did a radio show and talked about Kevin having sex with him and stuff
So this
like
is
that.
option B. He's
So
gay.
there's that, and there's
So B,
also
yeah.
your father had a baby with another woman who
Yeah.
lives 3 miles away in the
Very
house that he
public.
bought her.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
A is gay,
A is
I
gay.
think.
A is
A
gay.
Oh,
gay.
got
A is
it.
gay.
B is,
B is,
you should know.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
in you now.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Gotcha.
So a son's going to get pissed off. His mom's, his mom's fainting on TV. She looks like hell. She's in a sober house. The poor kid.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
Someone's going to get hit.
Yeah, the Kevin Sr. couldn't have worse optics unless
God.
he charged his son with assault.
Yeah, you
So
don't
I
do that.
think
You
that's
take the
gonna
punch.
happen.
Just
Yeah.
take the hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hit.
Well, there's a terrible transition, speaking of taking the hit. But
I walked into my son's room last night. He was laying in bed watching Bohemian Rhapsody. And it was this like super gayest Freddie Mercury's part. He's just laying in bed, just sucking it all up.
enjoying it,
How you
just
doing, son?
drinking it in. Dad, don't look in on me. Knock next time. Knock.
Tough, yeah. Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, so he's going, hey, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we didn't talk about this before, but since there's an update, I'll give it. A family of a 2-year-old girl who was hit by that foul ball last month at a Houston Astros game.
Oh, I didn't hear about
They're
that.
finally speaking out about updates on her condition. We won't show that part, but the frightening incident occurred on May 29th, a game against the Cubs, when outfielder Albert Almora hit a line drive, struck her right in the head. The game was stopped for several minutes. She was rushed to the hospital. Almora was
Yeah, he was-
inconsolable.
oh, yeah, he's
he
devastated.
was devastated.
Yeah.
So here's a quick clip of him at mid-game, right after the game. I mean, he fell apart.
Yeah.
In the next inning, Almora was spotted being comforted by a security guard after checking in on the young girl.
When that half inning was over, and I just couldn't hold it anymore.
Yeah, it was horrible. So
They do stories on this on like Real Sports and stuff like that. Like in Japan, they just have nets everywhere.
well, they're doing
Exactly. You
that
gotta
now, of
put nets
course.
up.
Now they say a couple of teams are extending the net.
By the way, but you don't even need your eyes open to enjoy a baseball game. Put a net
Put a
there.
net
If there's
there.
any game,
It's no problem.
you don't need a net or for some
Well, you
loose
look
side
through-
or something.
Yeah, look through loose side in hockey. It's no
Right.
problem. But the point is, nowadays people have their infants at games and they're
Yeah.
looking at phones.
And that we're celebrating them because there's that meme
Hey,
from
yeah.
a while ago. The guy guy catches the foul ball with the baby in his
and
arm.
A baby and a beer. And
that's a man.
Exactly.
That's a man.
Yeah.
That's a man.
So the little girl's not doing super great.
No.
She's has a skull fracture, she's a little bleeding, a little swelling, brain swelling. She's having seizures. She's recovering at home, but I mean,
she's going to be a rich woman, right?
I would imagine so.
Although there are little things on the ticket.
That's not negligent.
You're probably right.
I mean,
I know. We're living in a world where everyone gets to
responsibility.
sue everyone all the time, but on the ticket, it basically says you're taking responsibility for blah, blah, blah.
Well, look, it would be nice if they covered the medical bills.
But no, they're going to show the real sports from 4 years ago when they said Japan had a problem and Japan whatever. And they're going to go, you should have done this. And then here's what they always find. They always find the inner office email or memo with one concerned employee going, maybe we should put, and they're like, you know how much that would cost?
Calm down, idiot.
That's cat payday. Garagos shows up on your doorstep.
Yes.
Well, that's what Garagos uses to settle.
Right.
So when in Discovery, when they find that email, that's what gets them to cut the check.
Of course.
Right.
That one employee.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, New Jersey, which became one of the first states outside of Nevada to allow sports betting after a 2018 Supreme Court ruling, has said no betting on the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. However, there are gaming sites that permit betting for those who need to make. Well, no, it doesn't. 10-minute the 10-minute competitive eating event, a little more interesting. That's according to casino.org. Meanwhile, for what it's worth, speed eating superstar Joey Chestnut is highly favored to win 4th year in a row, but this is just too gauche for New Jersey.
I think my guess is it's not regulated in any way. Like it's just like a promotional thing for Nathan's. Whereas the NFL, there's regulation. The NBA, there's regulations.
Yeah, people bet on prop bets and all insane.
That's offshore betting. That's online. These are casinos in New Jersey. They have rules.
It's like, I don't know, pot, legalizing gay marriage, prostitution.
Let it go.
I'd love to plunge them on the Oscars.
AJ, can you agree with me? The hot dog eating contest, it sounds good, and then you see the guys taking the hot dogs and dipping them into the water and shoving them into their mouth and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I don't like that.
The NBA I've suggested this before, but tell me if this wouldn't help. The NBA has the 3-point shoot around, and during the competition, they have the red, white, and blue ball. It's worth like 5 points or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Every fifth dog should be a chili cheese or Chicagoan style, and you have to eat it conventionally.
Right.
You can eat it as fast as you want, but you can't rip it apart. It's like
it's a bratwurst.
You do.
We'll do a chili cheese
or a surprise dog. Could be a bratwurst. Could be a kielbasa.
We'll do a Chicagoan. We'll do whatever, but about every fifth one, and you have to do it conventionally as fast as you want. But you have to start at one end.
I like it.
That's
good.
It.
I don't know how come no one has ever choked. Like hot dogs are very dangerous to chow down on. It's one of the leading choking foods in the world. A hot dog.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're pros.
These are professionals, AJ.
That's true. That's true. You're right.
I do have some breaking news that just came across the wire. This is a big deal. According to BuzzFeed,
wow.
One Day at a Time is returning for a 4th season on Pop TV after being canceled on Netflix. And,
don't do it.
Quote, fans are ecstatic.
Don't do it.
You mean fan?
Yeah.
Fans are ecstatic.
Fan
for
is
the
ecstatic.
metrosexual
All the adoring
Snyder
fan,
and the trans kid and the
they
gay
got no ratings.
Break.
Well, that's why it got canceled, but it got picked up by Pop TV.
All right.
Oh, everybody watches Pop.
Everybody can
We'll all
relax.
see it on Pop.
I watched the original One Day at a Time, which is now coming on. What is it?
Romano.
Yeah, there's all this. What's that channel, Maxipata? No, it's like FEV.
Fuse or
something like
I
that.
don't know.
Like Partridge Family's popping up. One Day at a Time's popping up.
Fuse and Fusion.
Mod is popping up. At least
Mod. I've
on my
seen that at
thing.
night. What is that? It's not Logo?
No, it's
FETV, Family Entertainment.
Oh, I
don't know it. I never saw the logo, but I watch it. I watch Maud.
FETV is
You watch a lot
popping
of
up
Logo?
all this stuff.
No, I've seen Logo, but Maud, can you believe how she used to just destroy her husband? I forgot how browbeat this poor guy was.
My God.
I watched it for Adrienne Barbeau as a kid.
Yeah, of course.
The tits. But Walter was destroyed night in, night out.
He was the most pussy whipped Jew on the planet. Walter! And he's like, sorry, dear. And he'd come running into the next thing.
And then the other husband would come over, another trip. Like, the men were nobody.
The men were always
Oh, my God.
strips.
But it didn't affect me like it does now. Back then, I loved Maud.
I love Maude too.
Was Maude and the Mod Squad on at the same time?
No, after the Mod Squad.
They just
How's that
missed
parody
each
ever
other.
been done?
Yeah.
I've been watching the hell out of T.J. Hooker.
This is your channel.
This is it. Oh, wow.
Barney Miller's on. There's Maude.
Do they have F Troop?
I've been. I didn't see F Troop on Designing Women.
They have Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie.
Hazel reminds me of staying home from school when I was a kid. I hated that show.
I was. I love. I don't know why, but there was something about One Day at a Time. First off,
Bertinelli.
she was Ms. Romano.
Yes.
That was a big
that's a
deal.
big thing.
She was
Yeah.
divorced.
And she wore no bra.
She wore no bra, and she was Ms.
Ms. Right.
And everything was just grounded in this sort of low rent depression. We're like, Barbara, we can't afford that. Take that back. There was a lot of taking stuff back. Take it back to the department store. I got a new fur coat. Take it back. Take it back.
I grew up that way. That's why I liked it. But Schneider showing up, like the sexual tension, like just opening the door and coming in.
AJ grew up that way. His mom, like, AJ, take that shrub back. You got to return the shrub.
Take that
Bring the
topiary
shrub
back.
back.
That's why I was stealing shrubs to get some money in my pocket. Yeah. Beautifying the mafia's neighborhood, not mine.
So who was hotter? And I know it wasn't exactly the same time, but who do you think back on more fondly? Valerie Bertinelli or Susan Day?
All right, well, let's
Bertinelli.
take it slow.
Yeah.
Let's take
I'm
it
sorry.
slow.
I mean,
Valerie Bertinelli was great. A lot of hair. Like big time
best
70s hair.
it was a big thing.
Love
70s hair and really tight jeans. And she was really, really cute. But in a weird way, Susan Day was more beautiful in her. She was like a little taller and had better bones.
Willowy.
But then later on, I think he found out she had an eating disorder,
Yes.
and she was in love with Keith.
And Valerie, when I had to be with rock stars,
That's
Valerie
right.
was a lot of fun. Susan Day, I think, also was kind of a bore. Bertinelli was you want to run around with Valerie for a while. She had some good years in her.
Well, Spitfire.
She had some fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wolfie, her son. Who's the dad?
Van Halen.
Alex?
Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah. She ran
You didn't
around.
want Mackenzie Phillips.
You don't want to go
No.
near that.
No.
I didn't- that's why I
Drug
didn't
addict,
even-
eating disorder, all sorts of good stuff.
She
going on
was,
there.
I swear to God, I don't know if you can find this, Max Zapata, but when she wrote that book, she wrote that
God.
book like 10 years ago, and she was on Oprah.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, Oprah, the reason I thought I should write this book is because I know a lot of your audience, a lot of folks watching, a lot of people in the audience today have had adult consensual sex with their father. And I wanted to bring that to light. And the audience was like, hello.
Don't look inside.
Anybody raise your hand?
I get the same reaction when I go, come on, dudes, we all piss in the sink, right? And I get a lot of like,
I'm
hello?
with you on that.
Well,
I've done that
you are, but
plenty of times.
I get the same reaction. Like,
Yeah.
no, we don't piss in the
Not me.
sink.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right,
All right, well.
anyone under six foot doesn't
I do
understand.
it at 5'10". I get up there and do it. Just can't say it in front of the wives. They don't want to hear their wives hearing it. It's, sometimes you get that low kitchen, the low bathroom sink. The kitchen sink's a bigger problem. It's a bigger issue.
Yeah.
You need a
I've never done
footstool.
that.
Step up. Well, that's what phone books are for.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sorry. Yeah, she said that she would have consensual sex with
Okay.
Papa John.
Well, he
Thank
was
God history has forgotten that,
this guy was banging everybody's daughter, John.
and including his own.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a madman.
Can I say this? Papa John of Papa John's Pizza used the N-word describing Colonel Sanders.
Quoting somebody.
Saying, hey, this guy used the N-word.
Gone.
He was thrown out. He's gone.
Gone.
Papa John Phillips had sex with his adult daughter.
Legend. Legend.
Not judged quite as harshly.
Beloved.
Not quite as...
Beloved, I would
yeah,
say.
yeah.
Good point.
In the musical community.
No, that's is that a screwing your daughter could be a rich man, poor man thing too.
It
There are
could
some
be.
very elite, very
I think it
wealthy
could be
people.
it.
Well, there's enough Ivanka jokes that I think you prove a point.
I got to tell you, man, I swear to God, 3 months later after the story came out, it had to be about 10 years ago now, Max Patter, whenever Mackenzie Phillips wrote the book.
I think it was during the radio show days.
I just remember being at California Adventure, and my daughter was on my lap, and the song, All the Leaves Are All the... And I was like, when are you going to pull this from the rotation? Come on now.
Or somebody get this girl off me.
Yeah.
Get her away from me.
What year did Mackenzie Phillips write her book?
Oh, man.
2011.
Oh,
no, 2009. Excuse me. 2011 was paperback. So 2009.
Well, I was way off on my 10 years.
Yeah.
All right. So she wrote a book, and in that book, she talked about having consensual sex with her dad.
I think that was kind of the point of the book, yeah?
Wow.
And she was on Oprah talking about it.
Well,
I know. You've mentioned this interview in the past, and they've scrubbed the internet of the interview.
Oh, they
I'm
did.
looking.
Wow. Oh, she definitely talked about it. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, she had to.
Sure.
She's plugging the book,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
thrust, pardon the pun,
That's a pull quote.
Right.
of the book. Oh, imagine, as an adult.
Well, I mean, I think at that point you're probably so brainwashed.
If
you
I
know.
wasn't related to my dad, I would still be nauseated because my dad's such a mess,
Well,
but being related to him,
It was
you know.
like
It's worse.
It was
It's
like
even worse.
when A.G. Carroll said, I think people think rape is sexy. I think they think it's a sexual thing.
Oh yeah,
Man, that's
I
a
forgot.
weird thing to
Sexy.
say.
I say this, Anderson Cooper, you got to do a little vetting. That chick was goddamn
Wackadoo.
nuts. She was a wackadoo.
And let me
Did you
just tell
see
you
that?
something. When you go,
Anderson Cooper interviewed the wackadoo who was talking about being raped
E. Carroll.
by Trump in a dressing room.
The new.
And he like literally, there was like a part where he's literally like, we should go to break. Like, because she was like, I don't think rape's a sexy thing or something. It was like a weird.
People think about the sex about rape, not the danger. And he goes, well, I think it's more about the violent act. I think it's kind of sexy too. And he goes,
Okay.
we're gonna take a little 10 minutes. And she goes, you're fascinating to talk to. He didn't know what to do with himself.
She was wacky.
But if anybody can talk about sex in the mid-'90s in New York City, it's me, because I know Trump. I ran with him. He was banging my girlfriend in the mid-'90s. So if anybody knows, he wasn't chasing ugly old gray-haired spinsters into dressing rooms. He was after my girlfriend and other beautiful models, not women like. And by the way, I've been to Berkeley. There's like 16 women at every fitting room. It's the most posh store. You don't just run in there, and it's so stupid. And when they describe these rapes, they never describe the part where they bend over. Like, it's always, he reached me and he penetrated. How did he do that? How did he do it? Like, you're in clothes, you're standing up.
I don't think she said.
He said he penetrated me.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. He went under my coat and he penetrated me.
Oh, with a digit or a ding-a-ling?
Well, isn't rape with your penis?
It can be.
Well, I think molested.
I think in her world, she was talking about maybe a hand.
Well, he does grab him by the pussy, so
Right.
yeah, it could
He
be.
admitted
My
that
bad.
freely.
He did say that. So
they scrubbed that Oprah thing from the internet, or how does
Like
that
the
work?
full interview, there's certain small clips, but the part that you like, that you remember.
That you
Hold
like
on.
so much.
I enjoy
you
and
like it.
masturbate to it, but I don't like
part that
it.
you're fond of.
day at a
The part that
time.
you-
Are you finding a lot of people recording it through their phone? Like, because that's how they get through YouTube.
Yeah. There's.
Here's what I'm saying is, did they pull it down because it was offensive material?
They jerked it.
But it's
I don't know. Oprah has a strong hold on all of her
Yeah.
interviews, so
Yeah.
it's hard
yeah.
to get any full interviews from her show.
But Jill, when she was like talking about having adult sex with her dad, like that was weird.
Consensual, but she was a heroin addict and everything else. You're hardly consenting when you're fucked up all day.
Well, yeah,
every
and
day.
you're groomed
not
as
to
a
give
child.
Him, not to say that he's a great guy. He's a pig, but she was just a mess.
Was he then passed?
Was she a child?
When did he
Well, I'm
pass?
thinking. I'm thinking if you are groomed as a child to get in that
But
mentality,
I think
who
he was.
knows?
I think he was banging her when she was like a teenager and famous. I think.
Ugh.
He passed maybe not too long ago. He also had, I believe, if you want to talk about a guy with some dick range.
Oh yeah.
There were two women in the Mamas and the Papas,
Oh.
and one of them was the best-looking person, Michelle Phillips.
She was gorgeous.
Best-looking person on the planet,
Yes.
and the other was the least attractive person on the planet.
Mama Cass.
He got to both of them.
Yeah. Yes. He
So
did. Yeah,
here's
he
my
did.
whole thing. He could have sex with anybody because everyone falls in between Michelle
That's-
Phillips
and
and
Mama Cass.
Mama Cass Elliott.
Yeah.
Like,
His
they
dick?
both, everything is
Right.
Like Justice, his dick is blind.
That's right.
Any hole will do.
Well,
yeah.
He got. What year did he die? What year did Papa John die? Phillips. But anyway,
Yeah.
not judged as harshly as Papa John the pizza.
No. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
He died in 2001.
2001.
That's
All right. Well,
If he
Start writing
called
the
his daughter the N word, he'd be
out.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
We can't have that.
all right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
That was the news with Gina Grad.